All right, we're live.
Hello, welcome back to
What's going
Mental
on?
Misdeeds.
What's going
I'm
on?
Dre.
I'm Caleb, the only. Well, there's lots of Calebs, but I'm the only one on this show, so that's all that matters. Yeah, what's going on? We're fucking Pennsylvania midterms, Wisconsin or North Carolina. Wanted to share something real quick. Madison Cawthorn, the Republican congressman, infamous, been in the news a lot lately, or a lot lately. He lost his primary, and that's a good thing because he's got a long history of not standing up for the people in his district, as you can see by the picture there.
A
Just
little bit of a cheap shot.
Yep, and he deserved to get rolled like that. So that's all I got. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, cool. So we were just talking about how I love watching people get caught with receipts, especially immediately. You know what I mean? Like same day. You don't have to wait. It's not like some bullshit story comes out and we gotta wait weeks or whatever. So one of the former heads of BLM Inc. Who had purchased, one of many mansions and was living in one of them. Candace Owens goes to her house. Now she lives in a gated community and she also lives behind a gate in her home. Mm-hmm. So she's got a speaker system. So Candace goes up to the speaker system, says, "Hey, I see this is listed as a BLM property. I was just wondering if there was somebody who in charge who I could speak to." Mm-hmm. And the guy doesn't say a word. And she's like, hello? Just wondering, we're not going to harass you. If there's nobody there, that's fine. We were just wondering if there was somebody here we could talk to. Mm-hmm. And he says nothing and she goes away. And she's got this all on film. Well, this Patrice, or I don't even know if that's her name, whatever. This lady goes on social media bawling, talking about how she doesn't feel safe in her home. And Candace Owens was outside her house demanding she come out.
How
and
many
do these
private
things.
citizens are they responsible for doxing and sending angry mobs that were armed to their homes of just private citizens that had nothing, some guy that owned a restaurant?
I bet they were feeling real safe.
Now you know how half the country felt over the summer of 2020. Not even close to how half the country felt. Like, multiply that by 10,000 and you'll know. Like, that's...
And you didn't even have a mob at your house. You had one chick and a camera crew asking if she could ask questions. She was there for about 2 minutes and she left.
Yeah. She come out like with an AR-15 like the couple in St. Louis?
No. She was just being silent behind her gate, behind the security guard, not answering questions, not even yes or no. Nobody's here. No, bye-bye.
Yeah, she has armed security, but we can't own a 9mm to protect our homes. I love the fucking logic of that, huh? That's fucking...
Right.
Well, so speaking of gun control, I don't know how much you've followed the nonsense in Buffalo.
Not very well. I've been preoccupied with the stupid other trial, so please inform me.
So 18-year-old kid, fresh out of high school, went and shot this place. So he was armed. He had body armor, AR-15, handgun. My question is, how the fuck does an 18-year-old kid afford all that?
He steals it from his parent. Like, I have all that shit. He could come and steal it from me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he went out and bought it. I think he acquired it.
I'm just wondering if someone gave it to him. I'm wondering if this is CIA Patsy type thing.
And I've heard whispers of that, but I haven't done a deep... Like, he's so young to be, like, I've heard he said he was radicalized. How many people who are
Shooters
actually
don't say they were radicalized? Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
they're like, my ideas are normal. My idea is the way to go, man. That's why these people had to be shown and shot.
Yeah, they think they're doing the right thing. None of them use the word radicalized. It's just like actual combat vets don't use the word combat vet. You know what I mean? It's just not an actual thing.
They're like, I'm a vet.
I'm a veteran. Yeah, the only ones that say I'm a combat vet were the guys that like got kicked out of basic training for smoking weed or some shit. That's the only ones that say that. So I'm just like, I've just got so many questions. There was the thing about the body armor. He supposedly got shot by a security guard in the body armor and just kept walking forward like the Terminator. I don't believe that.
No, because police don't carry anything. Like, police don't carry 22s because a 22 is worthless. Like,
it wasn't a cop. It was a security guard.
Oh, well, you'd think even they would carry something that would at least pack a punch.
I mean, that's my thing. Is like, there's unless he had a 38 or a 22 or just something worthless like that, the odds that he shot this kid that wasn't that big, it square in the chest, unless he was on PCP, in which case the body armor didn't matter, and it hit him right in the chest, and he just kept coming like the Terminator. I just don't believe it.
Nope.
I think what probably happened was the security guard fired, he missed, and then he got killed or something along those lines. I just don't believe it. And I believe that they found the body armor on him. And when they got whiff of that, they're like, well, let's push for a body armor ban. And that's what they did. Let's just throw this little,
That's what they're pushing for?
Back. They want to ban body armor. They want to ban assault weapons. Yeah, body armor is the one they're going for because they said he walked through the bullets like he was Superman because of the body armor. Last time I checked, I'm sorry, the troops overseas, the police all wear body armor and they get killed like literally every day. So somehow this guy, unless he was on PCP, which no one said that, I don't think he just walked through bullets like it was a bad action movie. I really find that hard to believe.
Because once your body armor has been hit, it is no longer 100%. It's going to shatter.
Well, even if he gets hit, you're still getting hit by a live bullet. It's going to sting you.
Knock you on your ass.
Even if it doesn't knock you on your ass, it's going to pack a punch and it's going to catch you off guard for that person to take another shot at you. That's why I just don't believe it. I don't believe the thing about the body armor. What I do believe is in his own manifesto where he admitted that he didn't develop all of these views until the COVID lockdowns when he lost his job and had to sit at home and didn't have anything else to do. So he got on the internet and started reading crazy radical speech from a bunch of, lunatics and racists online. And that's where he developed this. And like I said, when it started, if you were following me 2 years ago, I said during the lockdowns at the very beginning, we will not know the mental health effects of these things until years into the future. And lo and behold, we have a clear exhibit of the lockdowns, of the long-term effect on the mental health. We have a guy who openly admitted that the lockdowns directly contributed to him walking in and shooting up a whole grocery store full of people. Maybe he would have snapped at some point if there weren't lockdowns, but fuck.
Right,
but we'll never know.
If you're a 17, 18-year-old and you get to go around your life normally, interacting with your peers outside of your home, you're not going to be, social, like...
You might be a little off, but you're not going to go kill a grocery store full of people,
Exactly. And I want to hear more about this manifesto.
Well, it was so...
Because, teenagers really don't, whatever.
Well, it was the shooting was racially motivated. That's clear, right? It was definitely a race thing, and he didn't. But
didn't he drive a certain amount of hours out of his way? Was there not any people of color in his vicinity?
Well, so he stated clearly that he was going to do it where he did it because of the gun-free zone. Because he wanted to kill black people. That was his clear thing. He wanted to kill black people. Now, I don't know if you ever been to Buffalo. Buffalo is like East Coast Detroit. Okay.
Oh, really?
So he walked into the grocery store knowing it was a gun-free zone full of old people, moms, and kids, right? He'd see just as many, if not more, black people if he walked into the hood, into one of the neighborhoods. You know why he didn't? Because he would have gotten lit the fuck up if he tried to shoot that place up. There's a reason that he went to the supermarket. And I know everyone's going to point out that the good guy with the gun got shot and blah, blah, blah. Listen. A security guard or a cop or whatever is a good start. But here's the problem with that. And I was taught this when I took my concealed carry class years ago. A security guard or a police officer is in uniform. He's the target, right? That person's a target. So that person gives up the element of surprise and gives it to the shooter. The shooter walks in. He knows that if he's going to take one shot before shit starts going to hell, it's going to be at the person he knows got a gun, right? Now, if the old lady's got one in her purse and the guy, you're at the mall and the guy waiting in line at the food court's got one on his hip and, God knows where else, that's a completely different story. It's not a soft target anymore. But if he knows I just got to take this one guy out and then I got free reign for 10 minutes till the cops show up.
And that's a long 10. I mean, you can do a lot of damage in 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can. So I actually had to sit down. So you know how we had the West Road shooting here, right?
I was just going to bring that up. And go.
Well, I had to sit down one time at it was this big like meeting thing, right? And it was this cop was talking about, it was ex-Omaha homicide detective, was telling us about active shooter, active killer situations. They say active killer because it's not always with a gun. That's what they officially call it.
Okay.
But so he said that, I don't know how much you remember from the West Road shooting.
A lot.
So George Bush was in town that morning, right?
Oh, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, so George Bush was in town that morning, and he actually left a couple hours before the shooting happened. So when the president comes to town, almost all the police and FBI resources are with him, right? And providing protection for the president. So had this individual planned this shooting out a little bit better and went and shot them all up, while Bush was speaking, Secret Service would have said this is an attempt to draw us away so someone can make a move on the president. All the cops in FBI in the city are to stay here. And you would have had like 3 or 4 beat cops that were left on their own to deal with this. And the dude just would have had carnage instead of a SWAT team. So, I mean, it was just poor planning. And, Westroads Mall was a soft target. It's a gun-free zone unless you enter through J.C. Penney. Fun fact.
Which I often do.
Yeah.
There was one good policy, though, that came out of that here, at least here in the city of Omaha, because people died in that didn't need to die, that had superficial wounds, because the police would not let EMT go in until they had the shooter under control or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's people with just little wounds just bleeding out, and the cops are like, sorry, EMS, firefighters, you can't go in. So after that, every single firefighter and every single cop in Omaha had to take a class together on this exact type of situation so that they have to go in together.
I didn't know that.
I happen to know the lady that taught that class. She's like, she became an alcoholic during that class because it was a dick measuring contest every fucking night for her. You know what I mean?
Imagine. Yeah, I can.
Firefighters and cops,
they already hate each other.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I've literally heard a cop, on the 4th of July, tell me, you better get out of here before I have to call the hose draggers. Like,
Jesus
what a way
Christ.
to talk about people who put their life in the line of danger to save
right.
others.
And they don't kill anyone's dog while they do it. Huh? Crazy.
Right. They're actually like saving the pets like that. I'm
crazy.
sure after they get the people out, they're right on the pets and
crazy how that
under control.
Crazy how that whole thing works there. But what are you going to do?
So yeah, like one good policy came out of that. You guys have to work together to save fucking people that have been shot. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing, was the next day there was a massive ice storm. So that shut most of the city down, had he gone and shot up, if it was open, had he gone and shot up the place, while there was an ice storm, it would have taken the cops 20, 30 minutes to get there. And it's just like, there was a story about one lady, she hid in the dressing room at Von Mar, and she was a photographer, so she had a camera, and she said if the guy opened the thing, she was going to flash him with the camera and hit him and try to blind him and hit him upside the head. And it's like, that's great, but wouldn't you just rather shoot him?
Right. I'd rather have like flash photography, weapon with bullets.
Right. Yeah. I think I take the gun. And my thing with the body armor thing, circling back to this guy in Buffalo, is, yeah, you know what? Even if he does have body armor and the bullet, your handgun didn't work on him the first round, or the security guard's handgun didn't work on him. Okay, great. Now you're here by yourself. Would you rather face a guy with an AR-15 and body armor with a handgun or with nothing? I mean, pick. You got to face the guy. Would you rather have a gun or nothing? Give me a fucking chance. You know what I mean? Like, don't just get. I'm dead if I got nothing. I'm dead. If he walks around and sees me, I'm dead.
When I started, like the first time I heard them talking about banning body armor was a couple of years ago, and I was just in shock because, like, why? That's like banning seatbelts to me. Like, why are you taking away any protection?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, why don't you just take my Band-Aids? Like, fucking assholes. Right.
No, it's the most passive form of self-defense you can get.
Right? Like it's literally just something that you wear. It doesn't hurt anybody else. No. You seriously cannot hurt anybody else with it.
No, there's nothing. I mean, you could hit them with it, but you could hit them with a shovel.
You had to take it off, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, illegal. I could kick them, too.
Right, yeah. You hit them with a shovel. You could hit them with your car. You hit them with a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, But yeah, I know it is the most passive form of self-defense out there, and there's no reason to want to ban it other than just a control thing. There's no reason, other than that. I think they know. I think the big focus on body armor is you have these gun control groups that have just spent, hundreds of millions of dollars over the last decade or so, hundreds of millions since Sandy Hook, and they've got nothing to show for it. They have accomplished nothing. Nothing. They've lost ground. They've lost the debate. Tens of millions of dollars for nothing, to lose a debate. I mean, look what's going on. The Ninth District Court, which is historically liberal, just repealed California's rifle ban for anyone under the age of 21.
Really?
So you could not buy a semi-automatic handgun or long gun in California if you were under the age of 21, and now it's 18 plus. I don't know if that will make it so it's nationwide handguns are 18 plus, but they said, or if it'll just be long guns, but they declared it unconstitutional. They said they can serve in the military. There's no reason they can't have a semi-automatic rifle. The Supreme Court is pretty much guaranteed to strike down the concealed carry bans in New York this summer. Next year, they're talking about taking a look at Maryland's assault weapons ban. And unless there's a bunch of heart attacks and strokes on the Supreme Court, that's going to get struck down too. So I mean, they've accomplished nothing. They've lost every single step of the way. It seemed like they were making gains for a while with the Parkland kids and all that, but it's completely fallen apart. The narrative's been lost. You have a country that's one misstep away from food riots every other week. And you want to tell these people they can't have a weapon with 30 rounds? Fuck off. No one's going to buy that line anymore.
Especially after the kid in Florida, 2, 3, 4 years ago?
Parkland,
the kid had been investigated by the police and the FBI. How many times?
It's like 70 times. Yeah.
What is the threshold?
Well, this guy was institutionalized too for saying he wanted to go shoot people, saying he wanted to commit a mass shooting. He was and that's not a red flag law. They can detain you and take your weapons in any state if you say I'm going to go kill people. That's not a red flag law. That's the law across the country.
You can't say that.
Yeah, if you walk in and tell your therapist today I'm going to kill myself, they'll call the cops and they'll come take your guns. Or you're going to kill your wife or whatever. A red flag law is where your neighbor goes, hey, he's been up to some weird stuff lately. I don't think he should be armed. And the cops just come and take him. That's a red flag law. This is not a red flag law. This is the law in every state. And they know this. They know these people are threats. They've done nothing to neutralize the threats. And yet the only solution being offered is to give more power to the people who were responsible for letting this happen in the first place. It just makes absolutely no sense to me.
And, and when you hear those people in power try to talk about the new laws that they want to put in place, isn't it always fun how they have no idea what terms to use and what any of these things mean? They have no clue about how weapons work or how you actually, the steps you actually do have to go through to acquire them. Mm-hmm. It amazes me. Yeah. The lack of knowledge that the basic knowledge that they don't have.
Yeah. Well, the John Rich video, I think we shared it a couple of weeks ago, was great about him talking to Pelosi.
Which one was that? Refresh me.
So, I found it very relevant for my situation. I travel often for comedy, and he said Pelosi came up to him and said Pelosi came up to him and said, "Why do you, so if I shoot a deer and I shoot at a deer and I miss it once, it's going to run away, right?" And he said, "That's correct." And she said, "So how come you need a magazine with more than 7 rounds in it for self-defense?" And he goes, "Well, Madam Speaker, my wife's at home with our 2 kids." And this is what I felt very relevant to my situation. He said, "My wife's at home with our 2 kids in Nashville right now. If somebody called, or if she were to call me right now and say, 'Hey, I hear footsteps. Someone's coming down the hallway. They broke in,' would you advise her to grab the gun with 7 rounds in it or the one with 30? And she said, "Is that really how you look at it?" And he goes, "Yes, it is." And she goes, "Well, it was nice to meet you." Like, yeah, no, because you couldn't possibly comprehend what we have to deal with.
Sorry, we don't have Secret Service or armed bodyguards that we can pay with our, ill-gotten gains through insider trading, you weird, narcissistic zombie bitch.
Yeah, that's my thing. If I'm in a firefight, give me as many rounds as possible without having to reload. If I have someone break into my home that's trying to rob me or do even worse than that, give me as many rounds as I can possibly have and carry around without having to reload. Yes, that's what I want. I'll take 100 if you can guarantee that it's going to fire, and it's a drum mag, so it won't. But if it would, I would take 100-round magazine easily. The more, the merrier. If it's my life on the line and I have to win a gunfight with somebody, yes, I want as many chances to hit my target as possible, even if they don't have a gun of their own.
I don't care if they have a gun of their own. They're in my house uninvited, bitch.
Yeah, no, there's
your life is forfeit at that point. Yeah, no, understand that.
And that's what I've always said is, I mean, you think about it, about home invaders, right? Because I mean, you can't, if a guy's running out your door with your computer, you can't shoot him in the back, even though you should be able to.
Right.
But
yeah.
But I mean, I probably wouldn't, whatever. But
I don't want to risk the lawsuit.
No, I'm not. And even if you shoot a guy that's in the process of raping you, you can still get sued by the family. That's the fucked up part about it. And you won't lose, but you're gonna get, you're gonna be out a ton of money, and you're gonna have to relive everything again.
Maybe there's going to be one less family on Earth.
I know, right?
Trial.
send them all to my house. Why don't you all come down? Yeah, no shit.
Come on over. Let's chat about this trial.
Yeah, well, I mean, odds are if someone's breaking into your home, he doesn't have life insurance. So that's probably what they're looking for. But no, so I mean, if you're breaking into somebody's house to steal shit and take it to the pawn shop or sell it on eBay or whatever, you're going to do that when they're not home. Right? You're going to do it when they're not home. Hopefully, unless you're on meth, in which case, but 99% of the time, if you're going to rob somebody, you're going to wait for them to go to work. You're going to wait for them to go on vacation. You're going to wait for them to go to the grocery store, whatever. You're going to have the house cased out and say, okay, he left. Let's go in now. Right? You're going to do it in the middle of the day. If someone is in your home while you are sleeping, it's because it's just like anything. A guy doesn't want to get it's a job to them. They're making money, right? They're stealing your shit to sell. Just like a guy doesn't want to get shot selling insurance, they don't want to get shot breaking into your house. Now, if someone is in your home in the middle of the night while you are sleeping, you have every right to assume that person is there to do the absolute worst things imaginable to you. There's no reason. You can gamble that's
vulnerable position possible at that point in time.
Yeah.
You're in your bed in who knows what state of dress, asleep, disoriented because you're waking up to some crazy noise that you're not used to.
Or your dog going nuts or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And you can gamble that he's just there to take your Xbox or your TV, but you're gambling with your life, Like
I'm not a gambler.
Yeah, if they're in your bedroom, odds are they're not there to take your clothes. You know what I mean? Like,
they're not looking for the shoes under the bed that are in storage.
No. That's see, fortunately in our situation, I mean, my dog would fucking light them up. She wouldn't, I don't know how well she'd fare in a fight, but we would know because she would go ape. We got two of them. We got a little yipper and a big one. I know,
but that makes me sick, Caleb. They would not give a fuck about your dog. They would kick her. They would be mean.
Oh, I know. And at that point, if you touch my dog, I'm double tapping. Like, I'll let you bleed out on the ground at that point. Like, I'm not calling. You lay a hand, dude. You break into my home and lay a hand on my fucking dog. I'm gonna shoot you and wait 15 minutes before I call an ambulance. Like and then I'm gonna press on the bullet a couple times. Yeah, don't fuck with my dog. That's all I'll say. Use this against me in court, please. Yeah.
You don't fuck with people's pets, man. You just don't. No,
it's uncalled for. My dog's not big enough to do anybody any harm. So I do. I have a laser on my gun that I keep by the bed on the nightstand. And my dog's obsessed with lasers. So I do imagine like if somebody were to break in, that it would, she'd probably get the laser on him. Bullet did. Yeah.
Oh shit.
We had that happen one time. We heard like a really weird noise. And I went and cleared the house, and she followed me. And like, honestly, I'd kind of rather she did follow me, just because dogs are a little bit more alert than humans, especially in the middle of the night.
And they can hear better and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but she just trailed the laser the whole time, just fucking obsessive. And I'm like, dude, if someone's like in one of these rooms, the first thing they're gonna see is this. No, the first thing they're gonna see is this angry dog, just because she growls at it and shit. Because my dog's got severe OCD. So she growls and barks at the laser. But the first thing they're going to see is this just fucking pissed off black lab just hurling down the hallway, growling and snarling at them. And if that's not enough to get them out of the fucking house, well, then it's go time, and I'm gonna have to shoot them. Like, So, but yeah, that's my dog's encounter with the laser. So
That's so funny that that dogs like them just as much as cats, because I'm always telling John, shut. He'll be testing or doing something with a gun and turns a laser. I'm like, you cannot do that unless you're planning on playing with him for at least 5 minutes.
See, our Chihuahua, it's 50-50 with dogs. Our Chihuahua doesn't care, but the lab, the second she even sees a gun, she knows a laser comes out of it, because we have lasers on we have lasers on all of our handguns. So the second she even sees a gun, she knows it. She thinks it's time to play, and I'm like, no, like, you're not like me. I will get it out and have her run down the hallway back and forth. I'm like, did your parents teach you not to play with guns? Like, that's what my parents. Everyone taught you don't play with guns, and like. That's pretty much all I do with mine. Like, I don't play cops and robbers with them, but
just with the laser.
Yeah, like that's. I guess that's a better use for them than having to shoot people, I suppose. So,
I mean, I hope I never have to shoot anybody, but I'm not going to be sad about it if it's a burglar in
my
house.
Exactly.
I'm going to lose zero sleep. I mean, I might feel a little bit bad that I took a life, but
it fucked you up for a little bit.
You forfeited your right to life when you entered my home uninvited.
Absolutely. So, not to change the topic, but you've been following the Johnny Depp trial. I haven't. So what's going on there?
Oh my God. So I'm like, if I wasn't a trial nerd before, I am now. I'm watching body language experts. I'm watching legal experts in between, on court TV, getting their takes. Dude, this bitch cannot keep a story straight.
It sounds like it's I don't know, because civil cases are tough. It's not like it's a criminal case. I part of me, like, I feel like obviously she's a piece of shit. I just don't know if they have the case there to take her down for defamation of character. I think she's lost in the court of public opinion, which is what he wanted. I think that was his only goal for taking this to trial. I don't think he cares if he wins. He wants to get more jobs. Yeah, he just wanted everyone to see how
he wants his career back.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually cares about winning the case. But
so for those who don't know, here's the rundown. These guys were married for 15 months. That's it.
Longer than Britney Spears and K-Fed.
Right? But their relationship was like, I don't know, 3-4-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
So they get divorced. They settle out of court for $7 million. She says, I don't want the money. I'm giving all of it to these 2 charities. Well, they've had people come and testify from these 2 charities, the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of LA. She has not given them the money, even though she's already been paid the entire $7 million. Plus, he paid $7 million plus to get out of this divorce in other shit for her. Like, he paid her legal fees. He paid this, that, and the other. So it cost him $14 million to separate his life from this fucking toxic piece of bullshit.
Yeah.
So, who has, borderline personality disorder, but we won't talk about that yet. Anyway, so she's saying she wants to get on with her life and she hasn't paid them because he hasn't paid her. Well, he didn't bring the suit until after it had been a year since he paid her the $7 million.
Yeah.
Lie. Huge provable lie number 1. And she keeps trying to say, well, I pledged it. And they're like, you cannot use pledge and donate as the same term.
I can pledge to win the lottery tomorrow. That doesn't mean I'm going to.
Right. Until you do it, it is not a donation, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And so oh God, Johnny Depp's attorney, I can't remember her name. She's got long dark hair, and she's the one that she's got her finger on the button ready. She's constantly objection. I fucking love it. And every time the other old bitch who Amber hired with a Groupon, is like, can we approach? And you just see Johnny Depp's lawyer go, God, I got to teach this bitch how to do her fucking job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I have a unique perspective on it. Amber, I mean, goes without saying, Amber Heard seems to be a piece of shit, but in a house full of addicts, in my experience, both parties are usually guilty to some degree of being trash. I think Johnny Depp has gotten a raw deal and he's gotten screwed, and she was obviously physically and mentally abusive to him. But
extremely mentally
yes,
abusive.
in
Because his testimony, he started out talking about his childhood and how his mother was mentally and physically abusive to the entire
mhm.
family, including him and his father.
Yeah, yeah. I just in my experience, when you have two addicts that are shitty toward each other, there's two guilty parties. They're kids. Obviously, it's the kids' fault. So no, I'm kidding.
Luckily, these two didn't procreate together.
Oh,
Goddamn.
good God, could you imagine the fucking Satan spawn that would come out of those people? That's no. I do feel bad for him for losing the Pirates of the Caribbean job. I mean, that's shitty. He's gotten a raw deal throughout this.
I think I saw an article the other day that they're talking about bringing him back for number 6 because I
Oh,
think
really?
5 is the last one that
I
they
think he
did,
told him
right?
to fuck themselves, is what I heard. I don't know. He'll get.
Wow.
The thing is, again, it's like I said. I'm not a legal expert. I'm not going to weigh in on this. I don't know. Truly, I don't know if they have enough to actually win a case and prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that she defamed him and he didn't do any of the things that she said he did. But
Oh yeah.
what's that?
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh no,
I'm going to go
but
back to the timeline in a minute.
no, you're good. My only thing is, I think he didn't care if he won this case. I think that he's willing to write the court fees off as an investment, even if he doesn't win, because he just wanted her shitty behavior and lies to come to light. He doesn't care if he wins. It's all televised. Everyone and their grandma's following it. He's won the court of public opinion, and that's really all that matters in his line of work.
Right.
And I think that now that it's all out there in the open, what a piece of shit she is, I think he knows that whatever legal fees this will cost him, even if he doesn't win, it's going to pay off in the long run as far as him getting booked for gigs in the future. So
yeah, I looked up her net worth today because he's suing her for $50 million.
$17.
It's like 2.5 million.
Oh no, she'll never pay it off. No, she'll never pay it off.
And she's never gonna be able to pay the fucking charities
And
either.
she'll go to jail. She'll go to
fucking-
jail if she can't pay it.
man.
Or
So-
she'll probably get put on house arrest, but
So it's really the whole reason this is even going on is because she wrote that op-ed, and while she didn't mention his name, he's the only guy that she had been with recently. She had normally or previously been with women. So it's safe to assume that right after her divorce and she writes this op-ed, she's talking about fucking Johnny Depp, not men in power in general, like she tried to say on the stand today. And his lawyer was like, no, you were with one man. And yes, he was powerful. Don't try it. No, not. And she was so great. Amber would try and block. Nope, that's not my question.
Yeah.
I want everything after yes stricken. It was amazing.
That's fucking I have not. Sorry.
So it was all. This is only because of the op-ed, and that's when he started getting dropped from Pirates and other projects and whatnot, and he was not able to get work. So, but again, this is all after they were done, and she had gotten her money, and she didn't want anything else. She didn't even want that money, and obviously she wanted something. She wanted to ruin him. She wanted to ruin a guy.
Well, I mean, if you're a man and your wife or girlfriend violently attacks you, and you call the police, you are actually more likely to be arrested than she is.
Especially if there's marks on her and not you.
Even if the mark is, on her neck from you going like that to keep her away. Even if that's the extent of what you did, which I feel is reasonable.
Can confirm from people I know. Yep.
Yeah. I think someone we both know. Unfortunately, have the misfortune of knowing. But yeah, so I mean, if you're a man, you're much more likely to be arrested if you call the police, because typically by the time the police get there, there's almost always been alcohol involved. Women, no offense, tend to get a little bit more emotional when they've been drinking in terms of waterworks than men do. So she's crying, screaming,
and
he hit me.
I'm getting loud if I'm drinking. I'm sorry.
She's
the
crying
volume is cranked up.
Yeah, if you're a cop, you walk into this house and shit's destroyed and she's crying and she's got a mark on her neck. He hit me. She's drunk and screaming. What are you gonna do? you're not necessarily going to get booked on charges, but they're at the very least going to detain you. And
they're gonna make you leave for the night at least.
They're
You're
gonna
gonna have
make
to
you
find
go
somewhere else to stay tonight,
even if it's jail. Yeah, I mean, there's not much
you can't be there,
which is probably for the better. Let's be real, but
for real. But like, why is it him? Why doesn't she have to leave for the night?
Because that's what's and that's the point. That's what society's the standards for people that want to scream male privilege, male privilege, male privilege. At the end of the day,
I don't see it.
No, it's not there. Women do half the time for the same crimes as us. Women, I've personally witnessed situations where the baby mama was abusing drugs, not sending the kids to school. The baby mama was abusing drugs. They had next to no food in the fridge, frequently didn't pay the utilities, even in the winter time. And kids would call the dad, say, "Hey, Dad, we don't have food in the fridge. Can you come bring us McDonald's or something?" And, convicted criminal, felon, I believe. But the CPS would not. No, the mom. Dad was spotless record. Dad was an FFL dealer. And I don't know what you know about FFL dealers, but you can't really have a parking ticket if you're an FFL dealer.
You got to be squeaky as fuck. Yep. All the way up to the federal level.
Yep. Mom history of drugs, criminal record. CPS would not take the kids away because they were going to school. That was the only thing. That was the only standard they had. Kids are in school. They need their mom, even if mom was a drug addict. And it was 6 years and tens of thousands of dollars, but he finally got full custody, and they got taken away. And it was eventually when the kids were at the point where they were, I think it's like 12 or 13, where they can decide who they want to stay with. So it's
they could probably tell more accurately about the situation at home.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's for people that anyone that says male privilege is a thing in this country is not paying attention.
No, you're not.
Stuck to their own echo chambers, and it's just not. It's not the reality of the situation in this country at all.
Male privilege in this country is dying early, having the most dangerous jobs, and being convicted of the most crimes. That's male privilege in this country.
Suicide.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Suicide. I mean, and
highest rate of suicide.
Some of it's stuff we do to ourselves. There's a very masculine culture about.
But why?
Right. And that's exactly it. And it's to impress women. There's a very masculine culture surrounding, don't go to therapy, don't talk about your feelings, keep shit bottled up, just shut up and do your job. And that's what leads to suicide and mental health issues with a lot of men. I think that's definitely a stigma. That's created.
And I hope that it is changing because, men are just as valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And, you guys need to take your health and mental health just as serious as everybody else. And I hope that is changing. I hope that the stigma goes away because, we need men. Mm-hmm. It's half of our fucking culture. It's half of the planet. And there's no reason that there should be the disparity that there is now. It drives me crazy. And every time I hear toxic masculinity, I literally want to throw up on the person who says it.
Toxic masculinity. Let's pull up every mass shooter. Pull up every person in jail for murder and see how many of them had fathers present and tell me how toxic that masculinity is. So, let's do that. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Chris Rock said it best. He said, women, kids, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are only loved unconditionally, or men are only loved under the circumstances that they provide. And, or that they pull their weight. That's fucked up. But I mean, it's been, like you said, it's women are the ones that set those standards. Women are the ones that expect that from men. Who doesn't have time. What men don't have trouble venting to their partner are gay men. That's like, because there's no woman there expecting them to just carry all the weight. So that's.
And, Chris Rock is not the only person who says that. Well-renowned sociologists and psychologists say the same thing. So don't just write that off because he's a comedian. He knows what he's fucking talking about. He's not.
Comedians have always had a great way of observing things that are going on in society, pointing them out.
Well, you folks suffer from some mental health issues yourselves. That's why you get up there and work them out, right?
You will never find comedian who's getting booked doesn't have something wrong in the head. Every single person that gets on a stage is a narcissist to some degree. That goes without saying. But typically, there's something else. There's depression. There's anxiety. There's all kinds, slews of issues with any comedian. And there's some of us that, such as myself, that do a better job at putting up the wall and making us seem hardcore. But we're all fucked. We've got our own issues in the head to some degree, in one way or another.
I think that is good that comedy can be an outlet for that for you.
Absolutely.
For you folk. You know what I mean? If it helps,
Absolutely.
fucking great. Whatever you need. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
Also, if you need more, if you need to speak to somebody, a professional, please don't be, you don't got to tell anybody. There's that too.
Comedy. So comedy is a great outlet for people that have issues, but it's also a dangerous one. Because I've known other people with a
lot of addiction.
Oh, there's addiction. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, if you're doing shows, open mics, whatever, you're constantly at bars. So you're constantly surrounded by alcohol. If you've already got a problem with alcohol, that's going to be incredibly difficult to stay sober. If you don't have a problem with alcohol, I've known people that had no problem and developed one from comedy. The way I got around that, because I mean, drug and alcohol addiction doesn't run in my family. It stampedes through it. So the way I got away from that was I would bring $10 cash to the bar, and when that was gone, it was gone. I left the credit cards at home, and that was it. So that
plan of action.
That was how I avoided. Now, when we have shows, and I'm obviously not new anymore, so we have shows and stuff, I'll go a little bit harder. But I mean, yeah, we would. It was $10-15. When that was gone, that was gone. That'd get you about 2 or 3 drinks. Beers, and you're not gonna get fucked up on 2 or 3 beers unless you're Mia. But so I mean, yeah, we would take those. So it's a dangerous outlet, not only for the substance abuse factor of it, but it's not like music. Like, I know a lot of people with mental issues that use music as an outlet, and music is great because even if people aren't feeling you on stage, it's not as easy to tell. Comedy, if they don't like you, you'll know. It's not.
And when you come off stage as a musician, even if you suck, people are going to be nice to you because they weren't offended. They just didn't like it.
That's exactly it. Comedy, you piss people off, they'll scowl at you and shit. And if you're not in a good headspace, and especially if you have a couple of good sets in a row, like if you're doing well and you're on a roll, if you are not in a good headspace, the bombing can be the worst thing for you mentally. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Yeah, it's like I said about the Will Smith thing when he hit Chris Rock. The most effective thing he could have done would be just nothing. Because I promise you.
Who? Chris Rock or
Will Smith? I promise you, an audience full of people with dead eyes and straight faces after you just cracked a joke hurts way more than getting hit in the face. And it hurts for a lot fucking longer. Like that's
especially a bitch slap.
Yeah. That's the most effective thing that anyone could have done about that. And that's how you should respond to a comedian you don't like. Don't run up on stage, man. I know people that are carrying knives and shit on stage now. Just don't do it.
Well,
it's a good way to get yourself killed anymore because people
that guy that
after the Chappelle thing.
Yeah, the guy that ran up, it was Chappelle, right? He was doing a show with Jamie Foxx and
correct.
Dude, that guy's arm was going the wrong way.
That guy got fucked up. That's the new precedent. Right? Don't run up on stage on people. Just stop doing it.
His arm reminded me of Gage Grosswich's.
Yeah.
When they brought him out, I was just like,
Gage Gross.
Fuck around and find out. He's the guy that Kyle.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I remember
his arm exploded.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly it. Is just don't do it. People are on edge. I mean, Dave Chappelle, the biggest comedian in the world, surrounded by armed security. If someone can get on stage to rush them, they can get on stage at the local Funny Bone. You know what I mean? They can get on stage at the club you go to down the street. It's not like people are taking extra measures, and I'm not saying who, and I'm not saying what they're doing, but I know for a fact people are taking extra measures that will result in you being sent to a hospital room if you try to rush the stage on them. So just don't do it like that.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry. A mic stand or a chair can do some damage. And
a beer bottle.
Yeah, I'd fucking grab whatever. Get the fuck off my stage.
Glass of rum and Coke. Those little bar glasses, you cup that in your. I mean, that'll kill somebody if they got
to the head
aneurysm that hasn't ruptured or something like that. That's just don't do it for everyone involved. I loved how the guy that rushed Chappelle had a knife disguised as a gun.
A fake plastic gun
No,
with a was it like attached to it or what? Like
it was like one of those. It like shot out of the barrel. It was. I
the
don't
knife did.
understand that. Yeah, that's like trying to sneak weed onto your plane in a bag that says meth. Like, what are you doing?
Definitely not drugs.
Yeah, this is not drug. Yeah, that's essentially the same thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to conceal it as something worse. They'll never see it coming. How did he get through security?
Because the knife had to be metal, right? Because I know the gun was plastic, but
was the gun plastic? Yeah, the knife had to be metal if it was going to do any damage. Yeah, I mean, no, I just don't rush the stage on comedians. We just went over how they're not mentally well people, and now some of them might be carrying weapons on stage. So just don't do it.
And yeah, they have a lot of friends, and usually there's several comedians together doing a show, and they all have.
Oh,
friends
if you rush the stage on one of my friends, we're all beating the fuck out of you. That goes.
I'm gonna join the fuck in. I'm gonna pick something up, and I'm joining the fuck in, man.
You're getting your face kicked in. You're getting stomped, and no one's gonna go to jail for it but you. That's the best part. Like, so just don't do it. It's just not worth it. You may think it feels like the right thing to do, and you're standing up for marginalized people, but at the end of the day, it's just going to get your ass beat.
Yeah, and most comedy shows are taped, so
yeah, there's plenty.
Good luck, you fucks.
There's even if there's no camera, odds are someone has a cell phone in the audience, so just don't go. Someone asked their buddy to record their shitty set, or just don't do it. Just go sit there and enjoy the show, and if you don't enjoy the show, leave. Who cares? Yeah, just leave.
Go do something you enjoy. Like, life is full of fun things that you can do.
It's not like Chappelle's this local comic that he heard of, or that he had never heard of, and he showed up to this dive bar and he just happened to be playing and said something he didn't like. Like, everyone knows who Chappelle is. You paid money to go see him. You couldn't have been surprised by anything he said. Like,
he's not new. You can look up any of his specials online and see his brand of comedy and decide if that's for you or not.
He was kind of a big deal for a little bit, so maybe
just a little.
Maybe you should just do some research. That's why I've started branding our show as the most offensive comedy show, because we had these people showed up, and I knew it was going to be a bad show because they all showed up wearing masks, and this is January of 22. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, well, this is not someone isn't it sad that I can tell if you're wearing a mask that you're not going to enjoy my comedy?
After 2 years, though, yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, so I knew as soon as that happened, of course, ate a bag of dicks. Everyone ate a bag of dicks. Terrible audience. One of them complained about the content, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start branding this as the Midwest's most offensive comedy show. And the thing is, it's not different. It's not a gimmick show. I hate gimmick shows. We don't tell people to go up and just try to hurt feelings. Just go do your set. Take some more chances that maybe you wouldn't take at another club. But just go do your set. Like, I could go on stage and just say racial and homophobic slurs, and that would be offensive, but it wouldn't be funny. So we just want people to not be afraid to take chances. And the main thing was I didn't want the audience coming in with any expectations that this show would be something it's not. It's not corporate approved Saturday Night Live woke humor. It's just not. It's not the show. If that's your kind of show, don't go. It's not the show for you.
And you don't want their money. Like, you want them to know up front what they're getting into.
Money. I just don't think they want to give me their money.
Right. And, and that's how you get to that point. Like, people get to vote with their dollars.
Yeah.
And some people get it and some people don't.
Yeah.
But I think, truth in advertising is huge. And if you're doing that, you're letting people vote. You're like, okay, great. I don't want to go see this. Instead of showing up and being a whiny bitch and complaining for a show that you paid to go see, you dumbass.
Yeah. I just don't want people to come in with any expectations that the show is something that it's not. That way, when I bill it as the Midwest's most offensive comedy show, maybe when you come, it's the most offensive thing you've ever heard. Maybe you go, oh, that wasn't so bad. But either way, your feelings aren't hurt because you fucking saw it when you paid for it on the ticket, Right. So, I mean, that's what else are you going to get mad about? It's like the comparison I made was it's like watching Shark Week and getting mad that they're not talking about gorillas. Right. You're watching Shark Week. What did you think they were going to talk about? Same thing. We're not going to go on stage and talk about my pronouns and stuff. That's not the goal.
Ooh,
Pronoun mafia.
heard a interesting story today out of Wisconsin.
Oh, I heard the same one. Yep.
Holy fucking shit! Really? They're preteens. Why don't you tell the
Suspended
folks?
under
Because I'm so fucking
title.
pissed.
Suspended. Middle school students in Wisconsin were suspended under the guise of the Title IX law, which is typically to do with rape, sexual assault,
sexual harassment.
actual sex. Yeah, they labeled it sexual harassment because they did not refer to a fellow student as his or her preferred pronouns. And the only reason I say his or her is because I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. I just know they wanted to refer to them as they, which
and this
I
person had
would
only
encourage my
changed their
children. What's up?
to not to do that. Yeah, me.
Yeah.
This person the pronoun person had only changed their pronouns like a month before. So did they send out a newsletter? Like, fuck me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you should, even if they changed it a year before, I don't think you should just expect people to play pretend with you. I think it's
true.
We live in a very delusional society. And I really hope that this is just a phase, kind of like the scene haircut was.
I hope it
Like
was
the scene phase and stuff. I hope it's
what
a phase. The scene, with the long hair, comb over shit. Like the girls had the puppy colored. That was me in high school. I just don't. I hope this is a phase because essentially you're making a gender up. You're saying I'm a they them non-binary blah blah blah, and you're just expecting everyone to go along with it. Well, once you get into life, people don't have to just go along with shit. They just won't associate themselves with you, and that means firing you in some cases. Like if people don't
not even
or not hiring you, I mean, dude,
if you look like an HR problem in an interview, there's not going to be a second interview. They don't want problems. They want workers.
You put you come in fucking double masked, blue hair, pronouns on your resume. There's a significant amount of employers that are not going to give you a second interview or hire you. They just aren't. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no law you can sue them under. There's nothing because they can tell that you're going to be a problem, that you're going to be trying to snitch on people and get them fired and just create unnecessary issues that they don't want to deal with.
You're basically going to be an activist at work, and they don't want activism at work. No. That's not what they're paying you to do.
Shut up and do whatever the fuck you want after work. You know what I mean? Do whatever the fuck you want after work.
But when you're at work, you agree, you and your employer agree, I will do this job for this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. You are not there to voice your personal opinions on anything. It's not your place. It's not the job. It is, unless you're working for one of these fucking weirdo companies. But, I'm sorry. I worked for a Fortune 500 company for over 16 years.
Yeah.
That shit was not tolerated. This bitch had a picture of her naked grandkids on her desk. That shit was squashed within a day.
Yeah, doesn't need to be there. No, doesn't have it at home. Doesn't need to be there at work. See, I used to be of the mindset that when I saw somebody, wearing a mask outside by themselves or whatever, it's do or even just at work, do what you want. It's your life. It doesn't affect me. But we're approaching this mask situation becoming a national mental health crisis. Like these people have got issues, and at that point, it does affect me because I was going to the bank the other day to get a cashier's check, and guy walks in with a mask and scowls at me because I wasn't wearing one. I'm just like, dude, look around. No one else, not me, not the guy in front of us, not the employees. No one is wearing a mask. You are the freak again. You are the weirdo again. You are no longer the majority. You are the weirdo. And if it's that dangerous, stay the fuck. Go use the fucking ATM. Stay the fuck home. Don't if you're that concerned about it. But companies, I think, need to start seriously considering banning employees from wearing. The government can't do it, but companies need to start considering banning employees from wearing masks. It's if you're wearing a mask, unless you have a legitimate health condition, not I'm scared of COVID and have anxiety. I'm talking you have some type of disorder that would truly put you in harm's way. I think that your employer should ban you from wearing it because it's a political statement. You're not wearing a mask for any reason other than to virtue signal and make a
And it
political
doesn't do
statement.
anything.
If
If
you
you're
thought
wearing one of those blue things, it says right on the fucking box, it doesn't do anything. And
right,
that's not why surgeons wear them.
no, the
It's so
surgeons
that
wear
they
it
don't
so they don't.
spit into the
Yes,
fucking patient.
yeah, the surgeons wear it so they don't spit into the patient's exactly what I was going to say. They don't spit into your open heart. You know what I mean? That's why surgeons wear it. But that's if you're wearing a mask, it's a political statement. I wouldn't let an employee wear a MAGA hat at work. Why would anybody let them wear?
Yep.
It's a virtue signal move. It's nothing other than that. So yeah, I think that at this point it's become too divisive, and there's really no use for it. If you all these people are bragging that they're triple or even quadruple vaxxed now, so if you're so confident in the vaccine, you got 4 of them. Why the fuck are you still wearing a mask?
Oh, and your vaccine is so effective.
The
12% for a week.
The
A
vaccine
whole
works.
week.
Yeah,
And then it goes down to 1%.
And then myocarditis sets in. Yeah. So
Oh, and then you might not be able to have kids.
Yeah, that's what they're saying now.
They've been saying that, Caleb, for months.
Yeah,
Fucking
that's what they said. Well, they said it was the pregnant women that they studied. It was like 27 of 28 all had miscarriages. All lost. 27 out of 28 pregnancies lost the baby in the vaccine trials. That came out last week. That was the information that they wanted to wait.
Sick.
That was the information they wanted to wait 55 years to release. Because remember
75.
when they tried 75? Well, I knew it was longer than I'd be alive for.
Sorry, I'm a number person.
No, you're good. When they said that, I'm like, okay, something's coming out because you don't ask for that big of a window, and then that information comes out a couple months later saying that 27 out of 28 women in the trials all lost the baby. It didn't say anything about infertility, but women that were actively pregnant, 27 of the 28 women in the study all lost their baby. Come on, that's not a coincidence.
Nope.
Miscarriages are
do not
happen at that high of a rate in this country. It just doesn't. So,
and I'm sure these women were all in different periods of gestation. Like,
sure.
There's no possible fucking way it's a coincidence. And can we talk about the soccer players all over the world just dropping dead? The people at the peak of their health and mental, physical agility.
Yeah.
Like, these people spend 24/7 working on their physical abilities. They eat right, they exercise, and they just drop dead of heart conditions.
That's because myocarditis, you're supposed to take like a year off of athletics if you have it. So I remember.
So that's not informed consent.
No.
These people were not told.
Well, they were told that it was a risk, but you shouldn't worry about it because nothing can happen from it. That's what they were told. It was such a small risk. So I remember, because COVID can cause myocarditis as well. And I remember 2020, the Big Ten was debating whether or not they were going to play football. And I remember the big argument against it was COVID can cause myocarditis, especially in young people. Myocarditis is a very, very serious disease that can kill these kids or ruin their career, and they'll never be able to play football again because their heart will be fucked for the rest of their life. That's why we shouldn't play football. And that was the big argument, was myocarditis is so bad that we have to shut down the football season. You roll around the vaccines, and myocarditis is just a heart flutter. People were saying, well, young men ages 20 to 30 are at a much higher risk for myocarditis if they get the vaccine. Well, myocarditis it's not a big deal. Okay, you can't have it both ways. So it was either such a big deal that it was worth canceling the football season and taking away jobs from millions of people and sending a lot of these college kids back to away from their education to, poor areas where they're involved in drugs and gangs, or it wasn't bad enough to justify or to not justify not giving these people the vaccines. You can't have it. You literally cannot have it both ways.
No.
You cannot have it both ways. So it was either so bad that everything had to get shut down because of the risk that they could have that as a side effect from COVID, or it's not a big deal and we should just pump people full of vaccines. And if they get it, they'll be fine in a couple weeks. Can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
You also can't have it both ways with my body, my choice, and informed consent and body autonomy. Like, I'm so over this shit. Like, I literally saw a teenager get bullied the other day so badly that she went home from work in tears because I don't know if she took a test or whatever, but her friends found out that she was at work, and last week she tested positive for some strain of COVID, and then she tested negative, and she had taken days off, but they were calling her names, calling her a phony and a fake, and they made her so upset. She put on a mask for a little while, and then they just continued and hammered her. They were sending her text messages this fucking long.
Jesus Christ.
This girl was so bullied and so upset, she left her job and went home.
Bullying's okay as long as you're doing it in the name of social justice.
One direction. So, yeah, it's only okay in one direction.
Well, we're the only country in the world where you have to pass one of those tests to get back into the country. Like if you're leaving Europe or Mexico or something. So and we already know the tests are a joke. So what happens if I pop a false positive? I just have to sit there, you know? Like what? Okay, you gonna give me the vacation days back that I'm gonna have to take extra to wait to get back into the country? No, you're not.
And who's gonna pay for your stay wherever the fuck you're stuck?
Are you paying for the extra probably $600 in hotel fees that I'm gonna have to spend?
And then rebooking your fucking flight,
my flight, yeah. But I mean, I'm getting fucked. I mean, what if I have kids? What if I have dogs that are boarded? You know, what happens then? Like, you know.
So we went to Mexico during COVID, and it was great because it was a giant resort, and it was only like 10% capacity. So you'd go to a giant pool, and there'd be like 3 people there. It was amazing, but yeah, you had to take a test. You know, it was like 72 hours before coming back, or what, I can't remember. But we were off site, and I called the resort. We had gone on an excursion, and I remember having a goddamn panic attack, full blown, in the fucking car on the way back, a 2-hour ride back to the resort, because they had shut down COVID testing, and you know, it was we weren't going to meet the window.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, they had said that, you know, you can stay on the resort, but not in your room. So
of course
I had read shit, you know, we're going to be in a fucking shithole room. We're not going to get any food. We're not, you know what I mean? It's not going to be the continuous vacation that we thought. So then I find out, well, they have a rapid test you can take, but you have to pay for it.
$75 a pop. Yep.
I'm like, okay, fine. I'll fucking pay for it. I just want to go home when I'm supposed to go home.
Scam is what that's called.
Also, why? Like, I can't understand why it would behoove the resort to give any positive tests. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's that only brings bad press, bad business. People aren't coming. People are staying that don't want to stay any longer in shitty rooms. Like, I'm sorry. I think that those were, as long as you took the test, they were like, all right, have fun on your way home.
You're negative. See ya. Yeah, good luck in the States.
Like, there is no reason for them to give you a positive test. Like, and there's no upside to it.
Isn't it crazy how the worst thing that can happen from catching COVID is having to cancel your plans? So.
Right. And, you might have a sniffle.
Yeah. And, you know, unless you're like 90. But, you know, it's always sad when you lose the 90-year-olds and the fat people. But I'm not either of those people. So I could lose a little bit of weight. My body feels like I'm about 60 sometimes. But, you know, what are you going to do? Car accident fun. We just did an hour. We should probably wrap it up. Do you want to plug anything or?
Nope, don't have anything to plug, but if, you know, you guys have our viewers, if you guys have any suggestions on guests, or if you would like to come on the show, please let us know, as always.
Hell yeah.
Because Caleb and I are busy, and we haven't been super proactive on booking folks.
Yeah, especially if you're like borderline schizophrenic. We really want you to come on. That would be fun.
You and your personalities. It'll be a group show. It'll be fun.
All 12 of your personalities. Just bring them all out. I can't wait.
Just introduce them all. Well, it'll be good.
The guy from Split. Let's do it. All right.
Oh my God.
Harmful content this Friday at Beach House, formerly Wired Pub. New venue, new owner, same spot. So you know the drill. 9 o'clock.
Quite the name change.
Well, I don't feel it really fits with the vibe of the show, but I've already cool with the new owner. She said, I don't care what's said on stage as long as it makes money. So it's all
awesome.
So. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. This has been Mental Misdeeds. Thank you so fucking much. Peace out.
Have
y'all.
a good night. Bye-bye.